In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. How about you?
Not much. Enjoying the warm weather. People were complaining that we had no summer, and then all of a sudden summer's hit hard. Now people are complaining that it's too hot out.
I know. You can't please anybody or everybody all the time.
No, it's like you can't please them at any time anymore.
I know.
It's too hot, too cold, it's raining, it's too sunny.
It's like the Three Bears.
Yeah, exactly. So it's episode 60, and every 10th episode, we try to explain what WheelHouse is to you guys in case you're new to the show and haven't been watching us. And for those of you who have been watching us, here's a little refresher. John and I came up with this idea about a year and, year and a quarter or so ago, and we wanted to showcase local and now almost national, and we had somebody from a different country last week, or a father and a daughter from another country, that are entrepreneurs, influencers, just people who can teach us something about growing a business, growing a presence, being somebody of influence. And we want to tell their story, learn about them, and hopefully teach you guys something that they've learned along the way. So this is episode 60. We have a guest coming back who is a past guest, and he's incredible, and we're going to get into him in a second. But we really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us, share us, comment in our videos. We are live on Facebook every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. We're also on YouTube. We are on, John's going to help me with this because I always goof it up. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio.
Boom.
Did I get it all?
You did.
Okay,
Very
awesome.
good.
So we're everywhere you guys can be seen and heard. Please continue to share us, love us, comment for us, and just tell your friends about us. And if you have anybody that you think would be a great guest on the show, reach out to John and I. We'd love to have him on the show. Or if you think you'd be a great guest for the show, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on. A lot of my friends who probably won't make good guests are probably going to be like, hey, I want to be on the show. Me. I think the show is going to be a long one and an informative one, so I'll let you, John, go ahead and do your shout-outs. Because I think last week we missed our shout-outs.
Yeah,
Wait,
we did.
Me first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to shout out my racing team from this weekend, actually. I don't shout out my own stuff that much. I'm not really shouting myself out, but Round 3 Racing gave me an opportunity this year to race a couple races with them. They've been so awesome to me. Team owners Buzz and Brad McCall allowed me to come and race these cars with them. Mark Gamora builds the most incredible cars, so he's like the crew chief. My car chief from this weekend, Brian DeFrank, who we had a lot of jokes back and forth about me being Cole Trickle and him being Harry from Days of Thunder. But had a blast with them this weekend. It was hot in Indy. I got to drive the Formula One track, which was nostalgic for me because I used to go watch it with my dad every year that Formula One was in town. So big shout out to them for all the hard work. It was 100 degrees out this weekend. A lot of us drivers have a good time driving the car, but you got crew members who have to put on Nomex suits and jump out there when it's 100 degrees and fuel cars, change tires, fix damage. So for those guys who made my weekend absolutely incredible, thank you guys.
Sweet. How'd the race go?
It went really well. We crappy at the beginning and then really well at the end. Well, so we had a little issue with our window net, which is something that you have to have on in case you crash or the car rolls, so you don't body parts don't come out of the car. And first lap of the race, the window net just apparently didn't get stuck in the right way. So we had to come in and we lost 2 laps. So we fell to 104 out of 104 cars. Oh. And that sucks. And not only 104 out of 104 cars, but we're 2 laps down. So basically you have to pass 104 cars, pass 104 cars again, and then catch them again. Oh. So my drivers, Mike and Jim, my co-drivers, did an exceptional job. And we kind of fought through the field. Last stint, we were in 7th place when I got in the car, still a lap down. And I was able to run down 3rd place on the last lap in the 7th, between corner 7 and 8 of 14. And we didn't think we'd ever catch them. And then as I was getting a little bit closer, I was on the radio with people, and they're like, you just got to be 5 seconds a lap faster than him. And for those of you who race cars, 5 seconds a lap is a long way, but kept pushing, and it was a pretty cool moment. So Sweet. Passed them, and what was crazy was they live stream it, and they talk about it for 10 hours. They have 2 basically announcers. Wow. I passed the female announcer's boyfriend for that 3rd place. So if you actually listen to the live stream, they're being very biased against me, and they didn't like me very much throughout it. Not in a bad way. They just didn't want me to catch him.
Right, sure.
So it was pretty cool. So
Well, sounds
yeah,
like a.
we had fun.
Well, that's good.
We
Sounds
could have
like
won it, but it was the most excited we had ever been to be in third
to
place.
be in third
because
place. Yeah.
lap 1, we thought there's no chance we'll even be anywhere near the top 10.
Right.
And to get a podium was really cool.
Sweet. Very good.
So thank you to those guys.
That was good. That was more than good. That
Yeah.
was very good.
We're very happy.
Sweet. Very good. My shout out is a friend of mine who I've known this person for 35-ish years. I got a haircut yesterday. And
Looks good.
Thank you very much. This young lady, her name is Christine. We've been friends, like I said, forever. And she became a hairstylist. I don't know all the terminology, but she went to school, got her license, and she's been cutting hair for 10, 12 years. And then she went back to school and got her barber license, which is something completely different, because it's just a different certificate. She did that about 5 years ago, and now she teaches at Mario Tricocci. So she is not only doing what she loves, she works at a salon a couple nights a week, but her full-time gig is with MT, teaching young students who want to get in the field. So she built herself up, continued the education. I'm going to put a picture up. We took a little selfie after her class. So yesterday, when she was cutting my hair, it was a training thing. So the 4 girls behind her are students, and so they were asking questions, and she was telling them why she was doing what she was doing, and I was her hair model. So it was just kind of cool to see her in action.
Model.
Yeah. It was cool to see her. I mean, it was just in her element and teaching and molding young minds. I just thought it was cool and worth a shout out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm in the presence of a model.
you are
and a genius.
So, no,
But I will give her some bribes to shave her head next time. Just a buzz cut.
no,
for classes.
no.
It's okay. I'll reach out. We'll see.
No. Okay. All right.
All right,
No,
Model
no.
John. That's a good shout out. Well, I'm going to get into our guest because he
Sure.
is a rock star, and we've been
Indeed.
talking off air about all of his success from the last time he was on the show, and he was super successful last time. I'm messing that word up today. And he's like taken that success and skyrocketed since then. So
Yeah,
Corey
really.
Warfield, he's the CEO of Shedwool. Thanks for coming back on.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You've done tons of podcasts, you said, hundreds of them, and we appreciate you taking the time to come back to WheelHouse because the last time you were on, I had started a small tech company, and you came on, and I said, whoa, that guy, his dedication to what he's doing, his teamwork with his team, his vision, and the way you were kind of being a trailblazer in the focus of not going the general way of funding that a lot of people did with an early on startup was inspiring and also mind blowing. So tell us again, for those that are new listeners, what Shedwool is, and then tell us what's been going on in the last year or so. I think we had him on a year ago, right?
Yeah, about that.
About a year ago. Tell us what's happened last year.
So I was looking through it, and it looks like maybe give or take a week or two. I think this is about my year appearance, and it's
Awesome.
fun. In that year, a lot has changed. I've seen some really cool episodes of this show, and honestly, a year ago we were still kind of we were struggling to not struggling. We were still in the process of building our full version 1. It's been live now for some months, and we're having a lot of success and fun with it. But I have had moments where I'm watching the show going, wow, I wish that, either I had this or I've seen a couple guests where it's like, wow, that's me now. And here I am. So things are really, things are just really serendipitous. I'll say that what's changed with Shedwool, we've grown revenue, grown users, grown products since the last time, but I don't think we've raised a very small round since then. And we've had a lot of personnel changes, but what's new with the platform is we've now got artificial intelligence and machine learning to help optimize schedules for companies. We keep them compliant. We've now got Volkswagen and YMCA and some of the bigger brands have started adopting, and we're in some pilots with some of the bigger national and international quick serve. But what I have done and what I'm really pleased about is that I've put together the right team. I think what I did is I identified my personal weaknesses, kind of did a SWOT analysis, figured out the weaknesses of the company, and I hired and built for those. And so I brought on 2 advisors to shout out. I've got Mike Harshfield, who is a VP of technology for McDonald's Corporation for almost a decade. I brought on Jeff Butler. He was the first franchisor of Blockbuster. Then he helped start Boston Market, then started Einstein Bagels with Boston Market. So the guys helped build $3 billion franchise companies, been running a big dental fund out of Texas for some time. And he's got a new company that'll leverage our platform, but he heard what we were doing. He and I just had a phone call. He was actually a guest on a podcast that I was on like days later, and the host asked afterwards, he goes, "That was awesome. Anything I can do for you, let me know." I said, "Well, can you introduce me to the founder of Einstein Bagels?" Yeah. He had him on the show. Like they'd be a great client for us. And so we had a call, and we just kind of, it became so evident that we could and should work together. And so bringing them on board for the advisory has been groundbreaking. I've been getting out more in the Chicago tech scene. So big shout out to Built in Chicago. They did a big feature on me, which was amazing. And then they had a luncheon, and they showed some love to us that they'd written on. And the people that I'm meeting through there, I think last time I was coming off the experience of both an accelerator and a post-accelerator in other parts of the country, and working with other founders from around the world, which was amazing. Now I've been back in Chicago for a year. I'm like all in with Founder Institute, helping those cohort companies. I've helped build some other companies kind of from an advisory capacity, since then as well. And I think I've just really understood our flow, and I've understood that being scrappy and bootstrapped really is our ethos, and delivering a superior product to our customers, that's the way for us to raise capital, right? We don't need to raise investment, we need to raise revenue. And one thing that we haven't done since the last time I've been here is raise prices. We're loving our price point, and we're finding people are coming around. They're understanding they can pay 7 times for what we offer with a competitor and get an inferior product, or for the lowest price on the market, they come use us and we actually care. And now that we've got some of these algorithms and some of these social components for employee engagement, they do cost extra, and every dollar spent on those is going to come back richer than you send it out. But we've done what we wanted to do. We've got upsells, right? So we've got this really compelling price point that's really helping drive additional dollars to the bottom line of quick serves, retail. We've got hospitals, fire departments, a number of industries that use our software. But all of a sudden, we've got the mechanism to grow revenue. And that's been amazing. Silicon Valley Bank reached out. They wanted us to bank with them, and they're invitation only and amazing, and it's because of this opportunity that we have. Paychex reached out. They wanted to partner with us. Loving Paychex. So all these things, a lot of it's inbound, and I would imagine that we're going to get kind of into LinkedIn for a minute, just because in my life anymore, it's people want to talk to me about LinkedIn and then bootstrapping companies, and kind of in that order. But LinkedIn has opened a lot of doors for us, and I think that's another thing that I've kind of cracked the code on. Since the last time I've been in, so I'm happy to kind of be in the hot seat and just jump right back into things.
I love it. First of all, congratulations, because there's a quote that I think it's originally Bill Gates, is everybody overestimates what they can achieve in a year and underestimates what they can achieve in a decade. And what you've achieved in a year, most people cannot achieve in a decade. It's a powerful quote. To go from where you were last year, which is already successful, to where you are now, having originally when we spoke last time, it was a lot in the restaurant business. You had a couple other industries that you were looking at. You've expanded so much from an industry base, but to be able to expand from an industry base, have the know-it-all to hire your weaknesses, makes you such a self-aware leader, which a lot of leaders aren't. And I think if you aren't self-aware, eventually you'll fail. But you had the know-it-all to do that, and then take a sidestep and also introduce, artificial intelligence, which I'll ask you about in a second as well. Congratulations, because that's crazy amount of ground covered in a year.
Thank you so much. And then I'll say something that may be off-putting to some people, and other people are going to jump up and say hallelujah. But in my personal life, I am a man of faith, and I don't care what people call a prophet. I don't condemn, I don't convert. Right? That's a Ziggy Marley quote. But I just do love God, and I get joy from that. And fairly recently, I've started putting that side of me out, whether I'm delivering a keynote or whether I'm speaking on a social media panel or whatever it might be. And it seems as though so many of the right people are just attracted to that as well. And it seems as though, whether you want to call it God or whatever, it is faith in yourself. I think that faith and that just desire to be part of something good, not bad, right? To help people and uplift one another, and to not compete, but to really be part of something bigger. has really contributed to a lot of our successes and my personal successes as well.
Fantastic. I mean, your personality is infectious. For those of you who are watching and can't be around him, I'm guessing it does translate through video as well. But your positivity, even last time through till now, your positivity is incredible. But your giver's gain, and going off of your faith in yourself, you're taking that and you're projecting it to everybody else. And I think that's really, really important, because I'll touch on the LinkedIn thing. You're doing a giver's gain, basically education on LinkedIn. You called it Link Tips. Go follow Corey on LinkedIn. I'm going to look at everything LinkedIn related that you do when I leave here today in the next couple of days. John's shaking his head yes, because you're the second person that I hold in very high regard that recently has told me, if you're not doing the right stuff on LinkedIn, you're falling behind, and you're falling behind rapidly. And you're already a busy guy. You're doing a million different things to grow your companies, but you're taking your time to also give free link tips to people so that they can grow their company. So thank you for that. And give us some link tips. Tell us why LinkedIn all of a sudden has become this social platform that allows you to go viral, maybe a whole lot easier than a Facebook and Instagram, or when we talked about Twitter, it's become kind of difficult to go viral on Twitter these days.
Yeah, I think Twitter's where people go say stuff that they don't necessarily want anyone else to have heard that they said, so it makes sense. I think with LinkedIn, it's your opportunity to present yourself professionally to the world. And what I found is, once I hit the 30,000 first connection limit and you couldn't have any more connections, I was a little bit bummed. And then I realized I can just go on and follow everybody that's following me. So I've been able to grow really quickly. And what I have found is we've got some of our bigger clients through my LinkedIn activity. We have raised, I'm very cautious. I'm really putting a red stop sign to most money trying to come in the door right now. Frankly, we don't need it. It's not, I'd bring on a value add investor if their money means that we get their Rolodex, but that's where we're at, right? But people, because of what I'm doing on LinkedIn, we found a lot of people wanting to invest. We found a lot of leads. I get a lot of opportunities for paid speaking work, paid consulting work, all through LinkedIn. And it's kind of bizarre because that wasn't any of the end goal for me, right? I wanted to establish myself as a thought leader on LinkedIn in the workforce management space. And I realized the way to do that is to not sell your product at all, but to just talk about the problems that you're solving and just yourself, and to be really authentic. And thank God she's not my advisor, because every time I mention her on my advisory board, she literally changes the subject, and she's so busy that she's not watching. But hi, Carrie Luxem. But she told me a year and a half ago, she's like, you need to start doing videos on LinkedIn. I don't know what the heck happened, but I started doing a couple of videos, and all of a sudden I've got tens of thousands of followers, and I'm getting all this deal flow. And, I kind of was like, yeah, but you're pretty blonde. I'm an old white dude. Like, nobody wants to see me. But I was wrong, right? A lot of people do want to see me, and it's not just me. People love to see each other. People love to be able to tune into anyone at any time on their timeline and look in their eyes and hear their voices, and that's it. And the authenticity. So I'll do a voice at my house, and I won't clean up beforehand. And, my wife's very busy too, so sometimes the house is a disaster. And sometimes my hair is messed up. I didn't even check my hair before going on air today.
Looks good.
Well, thank you. I'm not a hair model or anything.
Yeah.
I'm also not a race car winner yet, but I'm coming for you.
Good. We'll have to go together.
My team told me I don't want this vehicle, although they're wrong. But I don't know that I'll beat you, even with my 500 horses under the
What do you get? What car?
So I'm not getting it quite yet, because I've committed to donate at least all right, my team. I know I'm being watched right now. I'm gonna get chastised.
Let's hear the dream car.
It's the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. They just came out with an SUV.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's amazing.
There's a YouTuber, and this is off topic. His name's Doug DeMuro. He actually does a really good job. He makes the most money out of car YouTubers out there. You might get a kick out of looking at his page. I just watched his review of the Rolls Royce. So check it out.
I absolutely will.
You definitely won't beat me in a race in that thing. You'll definitely be much more comfortable, much more fashionable, way cooler than I am in it, but definitely won't win in the race.
Well, and it's all-wheel drive, so I'll beat you to the top of the mountain. I go out to Telluride and stuff off, and then it sounds so silly, but to think that I can go up to, like, one of the trailheads in a Rolls Royce, it is what it is. I mean, I'm silly, but
my car guy recommendation is wait about a year and just get one slightly pre-owned, because they do tank
You can't do that.
You got to do it. You're going to save
I'm
yourself
not buying somebody.
$150,000
No, I don't want to buy
for
somebody
1,000
else's
miles.
Rolls Royce. That's their baby. I want my own baby.
There you go.
I love that you can't even pop the hood on that thing.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I'm a car guy too. I used to be a Jaguar guy, and they came out with an SUV. I was like, okay, we're getting close, and I was looking at it, and then the Tesla SUV, I have mixed feelings about, but that was kind of on the list, and then Rolls Royce came out with it. I was like, okay,
what do you think of Bentleys?
Yeah,
I'm the same. Well, good for you. When you get one, I need a ride.
You will absolutely
Perfect.
be. Yeah,
we'll have to take you to the track. I'll take you to the track. We'll go to the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, and we'll race some stuff, and we won't damage the Rolls Royce, but we'll go race other stuff.
Awesome. I have one of my when I talk about investors, we're talking a real small. I don't want to be trivial, but not a lot of money. But one of my investors, she just believes in me and the company, and she's amazing. But she lives out in Joliet, and she's got some fun cars too. So
awesome.
Yeah, maybe we'll have her meet us out there.
That's right.
Hi, Jen.
We'll bring our hair model with us.
I'm in.
You're never gonna live that down, by the way.
No, hey, that's fine.
That photo of you being a hair model, you put it on air. Do you have a copy of it I can have?
I do.
Okay, good. Text it to me.
I'm not saying you're going to get it.
I'm just going to have to go back and screenshot the video if I have to. I'll make it happen.
I was more interested in taking a picture of her and her students than me. I just happen to be in it.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember when you got me about my birthday singing? I'll get you back. The time will come.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. So tell me about this LinkedIn, the videos that you do. Are they short videos, long videos, instructionals? Is there a magic formula to how much or how little content you should be putting out there?
So consistency is key, and original content is key as well. Although I have a good friend, Lorena Acosta. Hi, Lorena. I know you're tuned in. She pretty much exclusively shares amazing videos from YouTube, and they do really well. She's got 150,000 followers. She'll get 1 million views on some of them, but she's really intentional about choosing the most amazing videos that probably you haven't seen. And so if you see her in the feed, those are good. For me, I try to keep them as original as I can get, and I really do like to switch it up. And it was a great question. I have a kind of long answer, but maybe 6 months ago, I was starting to get some visibility and some traction on LinkedIn, and I was making these videos. I just had kind of an empathetic moment of clarity. I'm like, I'm not watching anybody's videos. I don't have time. And frankly, I didn't really care. I was like, I have so many friends, and I literally was going through the feed, and I'd comment on all their videos. I'm like, great video. Thanks so much. This really opened my eyes. I wasn't watching any of them, and I felt like an absolute a-hole. And
all those people who you commented are looking out. They're like, you didn't watch your video.
Well, and so I did a video saying this is my last video. It's like, I'm a jerk. I'm sorry. I haven't watched your video. And in the content of the post itself, it's like, I haven't watched your videos. It's like, I've liked them. I've commented on them. You think I've been watching them. I haven't. I don't have the time, but so shame on me for asking you for your time. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing these videos anymore. And it was kind of liberating. I hit post. I'm like, cool. I don't have to do videos anymore. And for a month, I didn't do any videos. And some people were reaching out, but it got to a point after about a month where I was starting to get maybe 12 messages a day from people going, we miss your videos. Why aren't you doing videos? I was like, well, I kind of get it. People like to look in your eyes, hear your voice and all that. But I've done the videos. Why are they craving them? But so many people are asking for them. I said, what I'll do is I'll start doing 30-second videos. And one of the reasons is I like to close caption them so people that are hard of hearing or on a bus or something can still watch them. So the program I use sometimes had a fluke at about 50 seconds, and then this whole video effort would be been frivolous and a waste of time, but it never crashed out at 30 seconds. I said 30 seconds, I can always close caption. I can always have time to make that and put it out there, and I can commit to watching anybody else's videos as long as they're 30 seconds or less. Right? I was like, that I can buy into. So I started doing these, and I created a hashtag value in 30. And so, I don't often know what I'll talk about beforehand, but I'll turn on the closed captioning, and I'll record a 30-second video, and I'll try to have it be something somewhat valuable. And I started that probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I think we're at probably 10 million views, over 1,000 shares of those posts, and those alone have probably got me 15 or 20,000 followers. And so people like short content.
Right.
And it makes so much sense, right? Time's commodity. I literally started a company to help people save time, right? So the 30-second thing is really on brand. And then there was rumor that LinkedIn was going to have LinkedIn Live, and at that point I'd been named a top voice on LinkedIn and things like that. So my audience had built fairly substantially. And so, people were saying when LinkedIn Live goes, you're going to have to go LinkedIn Live. And my social media manager was going, that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, this is for professionals that are way too busy to sit around and watch people go live if they want to do that. Frankly, they'll tune into AE Wheelhouse, right? You'll go on Facebook or anywhere else where that is a thing.
Right.
And you'll tune in. She's like, nobody has time for that on LinkedIn. I was like, well, that makes sense. Well, a couple people, I think they gave 10 people in the world access to LinkedIn Live. And I didn't really tune in, but I saw them getting a lot of traction. And every time I went on LinkedIn, it's popping up this person's live. Like, you can't get around that darn notification. I'm like, they're really going ham on this. And about a week later, I got a direct message from someone in their corporate office. And I have some fans that work for the company. So a couple of them had said, you guys got to give Corey access to LinkedIn Live. So I think I was one of the first 25 people in the world, and they wanted me to go live. And, well, thank you. My social media manager's like, that's the dumbest thing ever. It's so off-brand. I'm like, well, let's just see what happens. And so I was one of those annoying people for the next couple of weeks. Every time I went live, people are literally emailing me going, Corey, can you stop going live? Like, that's all. I can't go on LinkedIn. They're like, when I go on LinkedIn, all it'll do is tell me that you are live, and then that you did go live, and that you'll probably go live again. Like, I want my LinkedIn back. Like, I love you. I don't want to block you. Like, so stop going. I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah. And now more and more people have that access. But I find I started a hashtag Live in 5 because I use Social Live and I love them. And so these are 5-minute videos because some of these people do like hour-long live videos, and I just don't understand. I'll call it a psychosis of like, who thinks people have nothing better to do? We're all professionals. We're all out trying to make a living. Like, who's sitting around with an hour to just watch? I don't want to name names, but like any of these people like talk about their masterclass or whatever, right? So I try to keep them to 5 minutes. But then I did have the company tell me that they were seeing better engagement with some of the longer videos that went live. They're like, in 5 minutes, people don't have enough time. They see that you're live and then they want to tune in and you're done. And they can go back and they can watch it, but some people fall off and whatever. So just last night I did a 20-minute live. I was going, I have a cohort at Founder Institute, and I mentor all of them, but I'm on some of their advisory boards, and I love helping them out. I love helping people grow companies and tech companies specifically, but I had about an hour. I was back from a sales call out in the Indiana Dunes. I had about an hour. I figured I'd shout out Founder Institute, and one of the people that I just brought on board has her own company also, and they're amazing. So I figured I'd shout out just a couple people. And it's like, well, this is a great time to talk about Shedwell AI, because this is also a great time to be on AE. Like AI is a big tongue twister, right? But we just released our AI a week ago. Like, this is brand new, right? We have our first couple companies in a pilot right now, and it's just, this is the game changer. This is what we've been working toward. Let's talk about Shedwell a little bit, right? Like, if I have this huge platform, and so I've got to at least tell people about the value that Shedwell brings to companies and employees. And so I went on this 20-minute diatribe, just kind of about Founder Institute, and I gave the two, in my opinion, they're great life hacks, but they're like the two lamest life hacks ever. I even predicated it. Well, I said, this isn't one of the ones where you put a rubber band on top of a strip screw and then you can screw it. Like, that's a real life hack. My two are kind of, when they fall in the wrong ears, they sound really dumb. But my first one, and you're going to do this right now, and it's going to work, but it's to just smile more. And like, so I was even on there. I was like cheesing, like I just like, yeah, I don't even like. It was my birthday, right? I had this huge smile. I was like, smile more. So I even smiled more. But the actual chemicals and the biochemistry, just what it does to you to smile. Like, when you're in a bad mood, if you just force yourself to smile, it puts you in a better mood. And if you're in a group of people and you smile and they start to smile, it makes you smile more. So that was one of them. And then the other one was just to breathe more. I think for me, it's just taking that intentional 3 seconds in through your nose, feeling the cool air, holding it for just a second, letting it out through your mouth and feeling the warm air through your lips. And it's a meditation trick. Like, it's like, a lot of people know to smile and breathe. And like, I even was kind of clowning myself. I'm like, yeah, those are the two. Like, yeah, really, Corey, that's your life hacks, is to smile and breathe. Like, come on, dude. But so many people reached out and they're like, that was amazing. I needed that. Like, I was totally in a bad mood and you said that and I smiled and now I'm in the best mood ever. And like, it's really just cool. And so I think sharing those ideas and those emotions and just being authentic and, sometimes vulnerable is the way to grow an audience there. And, it's not only worked for me, but I've now coached about 100 and some people through the process. Some of them are getting better engagement than I am. Like, it's almost like, you send the elevator back down, but sometimes when they then pass you, you're like, oh, wait for me. I'm only at floor 99, guys. Can I come see the view or what? But no, it's amazing.
Good for you. I have to start following everything you do on LinkedIn because honestly, I feel like I'm being left on floor 1 here, and I'm like, let me see the view. Great advice. I was going to ask you before you had mentioned the whole LinkedIn Live thing about whether you're pre-recording or going live. It sounds like pre-recorded is what most people can do, and if you're invited at some point, then you can go
There's
LinkedIn
more.
Live.
I think there's a couple hundred people now that have access, and they're aggressively trying to get it rolled out to everybody.
So it's a pilot almost to be able to
Yeah.
get rolled out to everybody.
Yeah, it was a closed alpha, and now I believe that it's a limited beta.
Okay. And do you think that once everybody can go live, it's going to be a little more saturated like Facebook is?
Oh yeah.
So right now it's
People are going to mute it. I'll mute it, frankly. Once everybody can go live, it's
Right.
going to be. There's 600 million users on the platform, and I think they say only 1 million of us or so are active, which is just it puts into
Wow.
perspective. Yeah, I mean it's still virgin territory.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the people that go on and send you a hard pitch right after you accept their connection request, they'll never do business. The people
I hate that.
It's frustrating. I've now taken it upon myself, and it's a little dishonest, but it's to the greater good. I'll comment back, and I'll literally say, "It's too bad that you hard pitched me because I need whatever you're selling." Or there are people, please sponsor me for a visa. I'm like, that's preposterous. I don't know you. I won't sponsor you for a visa, but I'm actually about to sponsor a couple people for visas. If you would have done things differently, you could have been one of them, or whatever it is. Your coaching services, it's really too bad that you just hard pitch me your coaching services because I'm about to hire a coach.
You're actually teaching them a pretty good lesson, and don't do that.
I've had some people come back a month later or so and go, that changed my life. I stopped hard pitching. I took your advice, because I tell people that kind of the next step is here's what you should do instead. And people are coming back going, I did what you said and it works, and I'm closing deals, and it's pretty
Good for
amazing.
you for taking the time to do that. You're a very busy guy. You don't have to give them that lesson and then also follow up with the, hey, do this different. But good for you. Everything that you do really does revolve around this whole giver's gain mindset. You're just constantly giving advice, information, and help to people, and I'm glad that it's coming back to you as well.
Thank you.
Tenfold. So tell me about AI, because we were talking off air a little bit about it. I've been reading a lot of articles. I read one with Cuban, with Gates, a bunch of people saying that if they could be their young selves again in today's world, AI would be something that they definitely would give a lot of attention to, because it seems like that's where things are going. Tell me about your thoughts on AI, how you all of a sudden transitioned into, and it may not have been all of a sudden, it may have been a long process of getting there, how you decided Shedwool needs AI incorporated.
Sure, and we've known that we needed AI since day one. It's just been kind of one of those things where, do we go out and raise $5 million so that we can build our own? And what we did is we aggressively found someone that was building optimal, ideal, perfect algorithms for our exact use case, that didn't have any forward-facing platform, that wanted to partner with somebody like us that brought this value. And so we found them. They were in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam. These two guys built a company, the first algorithms as a service platform, and they're all around optimizing scheduling. And same stage as us, started at the same time. They're self-funded. They've had some successes in the past, but and the way I found them was on LinkedIn. My director.
I was about to ask if that's where you found
my
them.
director of operations saw the company posting something on Facebook about predictive scheduling. And predictive scheduling are the labor laws coming around to protect employees, give them advance notice on their schedules, let them know when they'll be working, how much they'll be working, what they'll make, have an audit trail, give them access to their schedule, things like that. And very few people are talking about that yet. It's actually on the dockets for Chicago right now. It's been rolled out, I think, in 8 states, and companies out of compliance will get fined tens over hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we keep them compliant. But so it's this whole new thing, and so my director of operations saw this company posting about don't get left behind or whatever. Predictive scheduling is coming, and he did a little research. He's like, these guys are in the Netherlands. Doesn't look like they've got what's going on in the States yet. They're talking about scheduling. I went to their website. It doesn't look like they actually have scheduling software at all. So I went on to LinkedIn, sent them both a connection request, went to their profiles, looked at their activity, and it was clear as day. They care about predictive scheduling as much as we do, and they all but said they needed a scheduling partner. I said, this is amazing. And I did one of my link tips, which is I didn't direct message them. Why would I? That sounds desperate. And I commented on their post. I was like, absolutely, that's what we're doing with Shedwool as well. I hope you guys kill it. Well, these guys don't get 1,000 likes on a post like I do. They got about 7 of them. So when I was 7 of them, and when I was one of 2 comments, they commented back. They're like, wow, that sounds awesome. 2-3 minutes later, I get a direct message. Wow, we just looked at your website. We just looked at the video of your product. That's exactly what we need. I said, cool. When do you want to talk? He said, well, we're a different time zone. What does your morning look like in 12 hours? It's our evening. Let's do this. I was like, okay. He said, why don't you bring your whole team on the call? I said, okay. I said, here's 15 email addresses. Add them all to a calendar invite, and we'll see you then. So we had this all-team call, and there was like 25 people on the call. Both teams just all in, pulled our pants down, showed each other our products, loved everything. They're like, all right, what do we do? We're like, well, obviously we partner together. They're like, all right, find us a couple, larger test cases in the States. We'll customize algorithms for them. We'll save them tons of money. We'll sign them up as customers of yours. We'll do a rev share on the algorithm. So it just fell into our lap.
That's awesome.
But because of LinkedIn. I mean, we wouldn't have artificial intelligence if it wasn't for LinkedIn.
Fantastic. I mean, we should cut that little clip out and have LinkedIn realize like what they've done for you guys and these guys out in the Netherlands.
I'm doing a paid master class in about a week through LinkedIn. They're paying me to teach people how to use LinkedIn. So
really?
Yeah.
Any way to plug that so that we can...
Absolutely. So
I'll tune in.
Well, so we have on the 17th, we have a free webinar that anybody can sign into. Find me on LinkedIn or my email's corey@shedwell.com. Anybody that wants to join. If you're seeing this after the fact, this is August the 17th of 2019. So if it's before that date and you want in, email me. If not, don't. or do if you want scheduling software for sure. And then the week after that, we started our master class, 3-week class, $53. Limited seats, but that's available through LinkedIn or through our my company TIR Global's website, and that's just TIR stands for the Indian Renaissance, but TIRglobal.com. Okay. I believe we're a consulting company. We work with some high-end tech companies, but I believe if you go to TIR.global, you don't need any /. I believe that our website is for the master class right now. We're all in at the moment. We're really excited about this.
Well, we're going to have me for sure, and then some of my staff tuning into that. Awesome. John and I were talking before, obviously you came on air, and we were talking about LinkedIn because we had Get Social Jack on as well, and they were kind of telling me that I'm behind the ball when it comes to LinkedIn. And like I said before, you didn't say the same thing, but watching what you're doing has given me the knowledge that I'm way behind the ball. And I think, like you said, it's virgin territory. It would be foolish if you're a business owner, if you're an influencer, if you're just starting a company or somebody who just wants to get your name out there, product out there, your information out there, not to shift a lot of your attention to LinkedIn.
And it takes a little bit of time, but the ROI is, you see it right away, and then you see it short term, you see it long term. So what you would do, you would go on LinkedIn, and in the search engine, you would literally type Chicago real estate. You would then, and nobody seems to know this. Every time I post about this, I got 500,000 views on it, and everyone's going, oh my God, I had no clue. You're going to hit the content button to filter the content. And now you're literally going to see nothing but people posting about Chicago real estate on LinkedIn. Now, do you want people that know people that you know for social proof? Filter to second connections. You'll see nothing but second connections who've been posting about Chicago real estate. You can add more keywords. Unlisted. Bank foreclosure, anything you want, and you're going to find people posting about that, and most of them will have 3 to 5 likes, and you're going to give them their 6th one, you're going to give them their 2nd comment, and all of a sudden you've added value, and you're talking to them.
Fantastic.
And you can filter through the last 7 days. I only want to see people in the last week. I don't want to be, picking up some stale stuff. Done. There it is. People in Chicago posting about real estate in foreclosure in the last week that know somebody that you know at your fingertips for free.
It's incredible to know that you can be so directed with what you're looking for. Time frame, obviously, I think that's really important, having certain things that are very stale versus things that are very current. And then, customizing it to people that are a connection away from you. Because, when you look on, Facebook, I'll use Facebook as an example, and I think Facebook's great for advertising as well. We do a lot of Facebook marketing. It's hard to see how close and who that connection is. You'll see, you have 100 mutual friends with them, but you don't know who the closeness of that connection could be. But if I see somebody's connected through Corey, there is some credibility to that. They're connected through me and you. I love that. I'm beating myself up while we're talking about this, about why I didn't get to it 6 months ago or a year ago. John does a great job with it. I got to give John credit. We're where credit's due here. John's fantastic on LinkedIn, and I'm guessing John probably looked at a lot of things you do and is learning a lot from you by watching. But where I am probably strong on Instagram and Facebook and really weak on LinkedIn, John's really, really strong on LinkedIn. See, we complement each other.
Boom.
Look at
Very
that.
good.
Look at that compliment.
And I'm able to get somewhere between 3 and 100 likes on every Facebook post. I'm able to get somewhere between, 2 and 100 likes on every Instagram post. And even on our Shedwell Instagram, when my team posts on there, they'll get 20, 30 likes, which we've got 2,000 followers, but I think for business that's pretty decent.
Really
we're
good,
still ironing out the content, but those numbers they're great if they convert, and they're crappy if they don't. But like on LinkedIn, every time I post, we're getting at least some type of site traffic, some type of a partnership investment offer every time I post.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So AI, comes with some fear for some people, and I think it's unfounded. I mean, some of it could be founded depending on what kind of artificial intelligence you're talking about. But I want to hear your thoughts on where AI is going, how companies should be aware of integrating AI into almost everything they do, because artificial intelligence is becoming a larger industry. It's becoming more researched, and it's definitely going to become something that, according to guys like you, guys like Cuban, guys like Bill Gates, it's becoming something that is going to be on the forefront of the business and technology side of everything we do in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, and I'll kind of I'll work backwards. I'll say I was in a room with a guy, CFO of Bank of America, a couple years ago, $1 trillion asset under management. Showed up 5 minutes late to a 20-minute presentation wearing jeans that didn't fit and a flannel shirt, and sat cross-legged on a table right next to the chair that had been, so thoughtfully set out for him. And he proceeded to tell us that he didn't give a damn about anything other than blockchain. He's like, that's all that matters in my world anymore, period. And this is 3 years ago. He's like, it's all about blockchain. And so, there's always, everyone, in other words, people in the know always have the next thing that's going to be the big thing. I think some people are like, there are people like Gary Vee that are still super bullish on voice tech. And like, it's happening. But I hear some people, there's a mixed camp. People think AI's already hit its heyday. I disagree. But when I talk about AI, I have to mention deep machine learning, because in my opinion, artificial intelligence alone is only kind of one half of the battle. And I get people thinking, they took our jobs and all that kind of thing. It's really, artificial intelligence should never replace human jobs. It should just make human jobs more productive or easier, or free them up to do other things within the same job. But with Shedwell, the 5 algorithms that we offer, we have an algorithm that based on historical data, real-time data, and lookalike data, can literally create your schedule for you. It'll give you the optimal schedule. It will create it for you. You don't have to do a thing. It'll hand you, this is the right amount of people with the right amount of skill sets at the right amount of times. We make sure that at the peak times, and they change daily by industry. The peak times, you'll have all the right people there. When it's slow, you don't need all these people there, and it optimizes for all that. So, we say 4 to 10% labor optimization on the P&L bottom line. I mean, there are companies with 20, 30% labor costs, and if we can drive that down 5%, it can mean millions of dollars alone to some of these companies. Sure. And so we've got another algorithm, takes everything into consideration from traffic and weather. If it's raining, you're not going to need your patio servers if you're a restaurant.
Right.
If you're a construction site, you're not going to need the roofers if it's snowing. Right? Like, some of these things are things that an intelligent person might be able to kind of surmise, but when you have all the data points just doing it and letting you kind of think about other things, it's really powerful. So we've got one of our algorithms is around inventory. If you don't have anything to sell, why would you pay people to come in and sell it, right? We've got one to optimize routes so we can be used by logistic companies. We're talking to one of, and I don't know if we're supposed to name them, but we're talking to a national pizza chain with over several thousand locations. They're interested in an algorithm to help optimize their drivers' routes. Why send them out with 3 pies, have them come back, get 2 more, and go right back to where they were? If they'd waited 3 minutes and taken the 5 pies, they could have been back 10 minutes earlier and taken, and it's a way, right, how do we make 90 cents out of this transaction rather than 70? And with the deep machine learning, and this is where it's really exciting to me, is it goes back and it reassesses what it suggested. So it'll go, okay, let's see what would have happened if they would have come back in between and picked up those other 2 pizzas. What would have happened if they would have had 3 dishwashers instead of 4? Would they have made more money or less? Would there have been less plates to sell more food? And it goes through and it'll omit when it's wrong and it'll optimize for itself. and you have that fully auditable, trail.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. And to think a human couldn't do that.
No.
You can guess, and you might be right. Sometimes you might be wrong. Sometimes this is the empirical data saying this is how you're going to make the most money as a business. And whether you're a business owner, that's music to your ears. If you're a manager, you're literally making a bonus based on your profit margins. Labor percentage is what you're bonused on. If you have a computer that can get you your bonus, you're going to take that 10 times out of 10. And so that's kind of what I see. And with AI, I look at, we were talking earlier about the whole app that makes you look old, right?
Yeah.
They're selling the data to Russia and all these things, but data is a huge play. And in the right hands, and I think that's why GDPR and some of these other labor law and privacy acts are really coming out. But I think people get scared because they don't understand that there are people that are going to make sure that this doesn't go the wrong route. I mean, we don't want a computer that can build a weapon and come kill us all.
Right.
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 But I think, but I think as long as we do put in the fail safes, I think at the end of the day, this is all literally binary code written by humans. Right. So don't let it be dangerous, I think. And from what I've seen, and I've been inside Twitch, which is the largest data storage facility in the world. They have their own army. They're in Vegas. I mean, they're amazing. If there was a crisis in Vegas, they have first rights to all the gas stations just to keep their power on. Like, it's phenomenal. You're escorted with people that look like they're stormtroopers with machine guns just to go through and look at the data. They said they house all the data for eBay, Google, the American government, and companies that they couldn't name.
Wow.
Like, wait. you just name the American government, like the army.
But there's other companies.
And you can name them.
Jesus. Well, I mean.
But that's the value of data.
Right. Yeah, I tell everybody there's so much value in data. And it sounds like, everything you just explained, AI, the way you explain it to me equals efficiency. Yeah. Efficiency on a lot of different fronts.
Optimization.
Right. And that shouldn't be a scary thing. Being in a more efficient society, human being, business, that should be welcomed. I think people's fear naturally is some computer going to build another computer, like you said, that's going to build an army of monsters that are going to come and shoot us. No, definitely not in our lifetime. It's not it sounds like a sci-fi movie.
But I think it was our time to go.
Right. Right? I guess if we're stupid enough to allow for that to happen, then there are times ready to go.
And this is kind of what I come back to on this is, I get that people are scared of AI. I don't know what else to tell them other than that it is happening. It's being scared of it's not going to stop it. Right. And I'm very encouraged and enthused to believe that there's no imminent fear or present danger.
Yeah. It's like I tell my mom this all the time. She doesn't want to get on social. She loves watching our show, but she'll watch it off YouTube. Mm-hmm. Because she's like, I don't want to go on Facebook. They're going to have all my information. I'm like, Mom, they have all your information. Anyways, it's out there. She goes, no, they don't. I'm like, they do.
You're like, so go to Google.
Yeah, go to Google.
That makes more sense.
That makes a whole lot more sense. You have Gmail. Don't worry. They got your information.
Well, and YouTube's Google as well.
Yeah, YouTube's owned by Google. So it's, I think there's that unfounded fear. And I think people who are, and I don't want to call my mom old. God, she's going to watch this. She's going to say I called her old in a second.
Well, old people or your mom.
Yeah. People, a generation, I think later, and not all people, I'm making a very big generalization here, I think are a little more fearful of this than maybe somebody who's a younger generation who's like, well, shoot, like this is going to happen. I'm very active on technology, on social media, on every sort of platform. And whether I like it or not, and I'm going to go kicking or screaming, AI is here to stay, and it's only going to develop itself more rapidly.
And I've seen some of the, they're not.
Sorry again, Mom. Damn it.
I've seen some of the new virtual and augmented reality stuff too that's not on the market yet. Some of the stuff from DreamWorks and some of that. You literally feel like you're in a different world doing a different thing. I mean, if you put on this headset and you're snowboarding, you are snowboarding. You're almost shivering from the cold. It's amazing.
I'm going to tell you, you got to get, if you love cars, you love racing. I have a friend of mine, Jim, on Facebook. His name's James, and he watches the show constantly. So, Jim, if you're watching, he has it's called iRacing, but he set up a virtual reality version of it. And Jim is an incredible computer guy and set this up. And he does a lot of programming. I went to his house to practice for this weekend, and Jim was on my team. And his simulator virtual reality setup, where I go to grab the shifter that I'm grabbing, I'm in the car, I'm grabbing it. I look around, it looks like I'm in the car. As I'm driving, I used the actual simulator as a driving tool for this track I'd never been to. And I got there, and I'm like, holy smokes. Like, had I not used that, I would have had no idea what I'm doing. And it was like exact. I drove Road America in it, which I've driven a million times. And where I look at corner worker stands, when I start to bring the car back in, it's exact. I mean, it was frightening. I was looking around in the car. I'm like, I'm in there. I was sweating when I was done. It felt like I was racing a car. Minus the G-force. And you can get rigs that simulate the G-forces too, but they cost a small fortune. Minus the G-forces, I was like, I cannot believe that this technology is here. It's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah, we had a section of I believe it was Dow nightclub, right? Tiesta was spinning. I was in Vegas, and we had the whole virtual reality world kind of come to us, and they were showing us kind of the next generation, and
It's unbelievable, huh?
unbelievable. You're mad at them afterwards. You're like, "Where's that been all my life?" And like, do I owe you my soul? You're like, what just happened? It's insane.
Well, and I think technology is exponential. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people say that in the last 5 years, technology has advanced more than the previous 25 years. And if you look at the last 25 years, it's
More than 100.
More than 100. And it's an exponential level. Do you think that trend's going to continue? Do you think in the next year we're going to beat the last 5 years and it's going to be almost frightening on that trajectory of...
Yeah, you know, and I think it's frightening or not, depending on your
not
perspective.
frightening in a negative way, but frightening in how shocking. I mean, I'll replace frightening with shocking. How shocking it is, the trajectory of technology.
Yeah, well, and what I'm so enthused by is a surgeon can literally use virtual hands with more precision than a surgeon ever could do, and be in a sterile environment without. There's so many things that you can do using all this augmented virtual, and then the machine learning and the artificial intelligence. And then I do want to bring it to a real level. This blew my mind, I guess, 2 weeks ago-ish. I had an opportunity to go spend some time with Jack Canfield, help with The Secret, wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it was a conference of his, and so I was watching him speak. I got to spend a little time with him one-on-one. But one thing he did for the group is he had everybody stand with your feet planted, shoulder width apart, pointing out with a finger, and how you turn as far as you can go without moving your feet, and point as far as you could go, turning your shoulders, and to take stock of what was on either side. And he had you draw a laser out from your finger up as far as you can go and see what was on either side of it. Take a deep breath and come back to him. And so do that. And he said, all right, so now what I want you guys to do, take a couple deep breaths, loosen your shoulders. I want you to visualize pointing further. He said, you guys just saw how far you could point. That's as far as you went. You saw it was past that. I want you to visualize pointing a couple inches past there. So, okay, so everybody did it. So, all right, now put your finger back out. And there were probably 600 people in. Every single person, 600 however, we all can point a couple inches further.
Interesting.
It's mind-blowing, like the power of the mind. So when you're in the car, in the virtual reality, and you're kind of driving the car, like your mind thinks you're really doing it. There are people that work out in their mind. They just close their mind, tune into their breath, and they say you can get jacked by lifting weights in your mind.
I'm going to start doing that.
Well, so couple that with virtual reality and artificial intelligence, and it's like, I think some people are resistant to change, and so artificial intelligence definitely does change the way that people engage, interact, the way companies do business. I mean, it is going to change the world. To what degree we'll see, and it's for better or for worse. That's up to us to program, right? It's all about the code, but. When you think that this is kind of all tied into our realities as co-creators, or as a catalyst for us to be able to do more things, then it gets really exciting, right? And if, people that don't like artificial intelligence, I'm sure that there are a lot of and I don't want to be like the news lately and go back to where you come from. I'm not that guy, but there are probably parts of the world that you can go live in that aren't going to be as impacted by AI for a long time. And if you need to be an expat and go move down an island nobody's ever heard of, so you don't have your computer building a perfect schedule to make more money, than do that. If
you want your Nokia flip phone, go get that.
And play Snake.
I don't even know if you want to play Snake. I actually used to have Snake on my phone for planes because for whatever reason I love Snake. But if you don't like that, for a short period of time at least, there'll be some corner of the world where you can go and live like that.
Yep, and then you'll see me because you'll be in Antarctica, and that's one of the places I want to explore. I got my sights on the ocean floor, Antarctica, and then just yesterday, one of the other founders at Founder Institute, he kind of had a weird vibe. He kind of reminded me and I hope he's not watching, the guy that owns the comic book store in The Simpsons,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, this guy's being really haughty, and we're going around, we're like, all right, who are you guys? I'm like, I'm Corey, CEO at Shedwell, and Yeah, my name's and my company's. Well, I'm not going to be able to provide much anonymity here because we're a space travel company. And we're putting space in orbit, and people can basically buy these satellites that they have exclusive streaming from, so they can see what their satellite's seeing out there and get 360 views. And eventually, we're going to be putting people up there. It's like, send me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry.
I'll go with you. I'll split the ticket.
I'm nobody. Like, I want to go back and be like, actually, my name's nobody. I'm nobody, and I'm not doing anything yet. Like with my life.
Crazy.
Yeah.
When I was in San Francisco, there was an unmanned, like a drone, and it was just a controlled drone that kind of, I guess, just takes in data from the sea, like sea levels and stuff. And it was a big drone. I mean, it was probably the size of this table, because I was in the water swimming, and I was like, "What the hell is that orange thing? Like, it's floating." I mean, it was kind of like hovering almost. And the guy in the boat was like, "Oh, it's a tech company out of someplace in Europe, and they have these drones that go around, and they're pulling data from essentially like water patterns and currents and all this stuff." And I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's crazy where we're going with that. But yeah, I'd love to go into outer space. Would love to go to the seafloor, although in something very safe, because there's some crazy stuff.
Oh, I've got plans. When you stalk my LinkedIn profile later in my summary, you'll see I have aspirations of exploring the ocean floor. It's never been explored. They found a boat off the coast between Europe and Russia. This was about 10 years ago. They found a boat that had sank in the late 1800s with a huge shipment of champagne, royal appropriation to the Tsar of Russia from France. And the way that this boat sunk, it sunk at the perfect speed, into the perfect depth, in the perfect lighting, that this champagne was perfectly preserved.
Get out of here.
But 130-year-old vintage champagne, at the time some of the best in the world, and so those got auctioned for like $10,000
I was going to say,
a bottle.
Have you ever gone scuba diving?
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, let's go put on some diving gear and go get us some champagne.
Well, so I've got an idea that I will prototype. One of my next kind of BHAGs is I will prototype what I've got in my mind. It's basically building an upright monorail that's very, pressure controlled and everything, and you depressurize at the bottom. It basically, from the surf, it'll send you to the...
What a killer idea.
Oh, I could talk about it for 3 hours, and you'll be whipping a checkbook out at the end. Like, it makes so much sense, and everything about it is safety. There are sensors, and we're not going down as people first. We're sending robots down, but when a robot comes back up successfully without a drop of water on it, it's go time. And this is built so, like, if there's something huge down there with teeth the size of me, it's not going to be able to affect us. And the thing, we're looking at 3D printing as a way to get this tunnel built. It's phenomenal. I mean, we actually fire as like a piston, like a bullet in this. It's ridiculous.
Oh, good for you, man. I have a feeling we're going to see him on the cover of Forbes and every tech magazine on the face of the planet. Listen, if you get a robot up there safely and you need a test human to go down there, I'm an adrenaline junkie. Send me down. The hair model might come with me.
I'm in.
If he's in.
He's like, can we do this without a helmet?
Yeah. No helmets, right?
Ew.
Does this pressurized tube do anything to my flow
John,
hair?
we're going to get you a custom helmet made that looks
want it.
exactly like your hair.
I appreciate that.
Perfectly manicured hair of yours.
Beautiful.
This is going to be an ongoing joke for so long, John. And then Antarctica, you can go there now. You just...
so check this out. Use
go?
the same technology that has a little heat on the outside
Okay.
and a little heat on the bottom. And you go far enough in where the friction doesn't affect it. And you build a core going all the way down through Antarctica to the bottom. And I'll tell you why. I am... And this is people like me right now. People are going to think I'm crazy in a second. I think Atlantis might be under there, and I'll tell you why. I believe in a theory called crustal displacement, and I believe that the poles get so heavy because they don't see any sun, and at a certain point they can't sustain that weight, and the crust shifts. And you look at some of these older maps. There's a landmass that wasn't far from Australia that's not there anymore. That's in about the same shape as Antarctica, but it was farther north, and it's on its own plate.
Interesting.
So imagine if that thing shifted where the sun wasn't, froze instantly, covered by a huge mass of ice, and imagine if there's, whatever you want to say, all kinds of riches or technology or just, I think that I think there's something under there. In other words, and I think our technology can get us there. So yeah, I don't sleep much.
Listen. You need a human being to go with you. You need somebody to go and explore. I'm in. I am. You're very motivational, inspirational, but the way your mind, I want to say that the hamster wheel just continues to spin up there in a good way is absolutely incredible. Any trips planned? I mean, you obviously. I want to know what Corey tries to plan when he wants to go on vacation, because your mind obviously works in incredible ways. What do you like if you're like, hey, I'm going to go out of town and take a little vacation? Where do you plan to go?
Well, so I had spent 3.5 years building Shedwell without a single vacation, and so I'm surprised I'm still married and all that. But we got married on the beach in Playa del Carmen. We used to go down to Dominica every year. Mm-hmm. I'll be back in Dominica soon. I love the black sand beaches down there. It's actually on a live volcano, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And we know some of the government and stuff down there, so we're always treated really well. But these last couple of weeks, we've been up in Michigan, just kind of fishing and camping. My wife bought like a teepee, so we're going and setting up the teepee and we're fishing. And I thought we were going up for the 4th of July, and we went with some friends and we had a good time. And we came back, and my advisor said, "Can you come over for dinner this weekend?" I said, "Sure." Let me ask my wife. I said, "Sweetheart, can we go have dinner with Mike?" And she said, "Oh no, we're going camping again next weekend. I thought I told you." So okay, that's a couple weekends ago. So this next weekend, we're going camping again, and it sounds like I've been told that the weekend after that. So it looks like my new vacation life is we're going camping. Well, yeah, and we've got a couple tents, so sometimes we'll set up a couple. When we went for the 4th, we had a big camper with my buddy, and so but she's just loving it, and I suspect that we will be looking at property in Michigan pretty soon.
Where in Michigan?
So the first time we went up was to New Holland. I absolutely loved it there. But and I don't mean this. I don't know who else watching. I don't mean this. But I started to realize I don't know if I like the people that live here. Like just for me,
Yeah.
So then I don't remember the name of the town we went to last weekend, but it was a little bit more my style. We're in the town for a little bit. I was like, okay, I could dig this. But I think we're looking like anywhere Grand Rapids. I think we'd love to be on the lake. My wife's from Toronto, so she's loving that. That's even closer, to her friends and family there.
How big is this teepee?
I think it says it sleeps 6. I've got 200-pound mastiffs, and the 4 of us sleep. We bring an air mattress. I mean, we halfway rough it, but so it fits.
Glamping.
Exactly. And my wife's actually buying a 1972 Ford F-250 van.
Very cool.
I mean, it's like the Scooby-Doo thing, It's just like, I'm painting it purple. I was like, cool. Everybody's going to call us Barney. I love awesome. You. But so we're going to turn this thing into like a little camper in the back.
See, when I would go camping with my dog, we'd go up to campgrounds. I used to take him on a trip every year. But I would glamp it. I would go to, Cruise America. And I would just get a 30-foot RV, and then I would pull into a campsite, hook up to the water, hook up to the sewer, and be like, all right, now I'm camping. I'd bring my little charcoal grill and make it feel like I was camping, set up a fire. But at night, I would just walk back into my RV and sleep tight.
It's the way to do it. Yeah, this last weekend, and I've been eating vegan for a number of reasons for just some time, and I'm really stoked on that. I feel really great. But it's not like a super priority. And my wife this last weekend, she's like, I really want steak. I know you're not eating a lot of meat, but can we do steak? I said, sure. And because I cook a good steak and it had been some time, I decided to go all out and get a decent grade of beef and a good cut. So I got some tenderloin and just got some veggies, made some skewers, and did some baked potatoes over the campfire. It was one of the best steaks I've ever cooked in my life. And not just because I hadn't had one in months, but it was just perfect. My wife likes mid-well. I like medium. I nailed the temp. We're cutting them with plastic forks. I mean, we brought real cutlery, but it was just insane.
You know what you got to get? So I smoke on a green egg, and my dad wanted lamb and ribs. And I was like, well, I can't do the green egg for both. So I got a smaller green egg. It's called a Mini Max, and you can actually take it's made to take camping with you. So it's small enough, and you can just carry it out with you, and it's got like a little stand that you put together, but it's basically like a mini green egg, and it's amazing. You guys should look into that if you're going to go camping.
I love green egg. I do in a moment want to talk about Nap out of Australia that I think particularly for you is really something to know. But before that, can I give my my steak cooking tip?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
It's insane. I wasn't able to do the whole 9 yards for this trip, and you'll hear why in a moment. But I could have prefabricated them, but I didn't. But basically, what you do, and I do a dry rub.
Okay.
And I learned this at Masters. I was there for years. The dry rub is flour and brown sugar with paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. But the real secret is the wheat flour and the brown sugar. And what you do is you take a skillet, you get some butter, nice and hot, rub the steak down in the dry rub, and you flash fry it for 5 seconds on each side, and you're creating this sear in the butter, and the outside of the steak will turn brown instantly. And you do it on every single part of the steak. So even on the sides, if it's a thin steak, you're doing 5 seconds, hitting it all. You're searing every side of the steak, and then you wrap it in saran wrap. You wrap that in tin foil. You throw it in the freezer for at least 20 minutes, and all the juices coagulate.
Okay.
Then I don't care if you throw it on the grill, if you throw it in the broiler, whatever you want to do, salamander, it will be the most juicy and tender steak of your life. And you don't lose any of the juices cooking it because you just locked them all in.
John, we're cutting that section out of this, and you're sending it to me, please. Well, so you're reverse searing it, but you're not going directly from the sear straight to a grill or to something else.
You're letting it not only rest, but and that's super cold. That's what makes it all coagulate.
Because I let it rest at the end when I reverse sear, because sometimes I'll reverse sear, but I never take that little break there to keep the juices in there.
I learned that from a chef that he'd done 5-star dining as a head chef executive. He actually was an owner operator when he taught me that trick. But it's like, he told me it, I'm like, that sounds amazing, but we've got to try it. And so when he showed me, he did, it's like best steak I'd ever had in my life. I was like, well, but he's a chef. Right. I went home and tried it. Next time I nailed it.
Oh, well, I know what I'm doing this weekend. Well, actually, this weekend I'm in Wisconsin with my dad for his birthday. Oh, shout out to my dad, too. Doesn't want to show that much, but shout out to my dad for his birthday. It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
So, love you, Dad.
Happy birthday.
But, okay, I'm going to try it, and I'm going to shoot you a message and let you know my results. It sounds like it's a really smart way to do a steak, but I'd never heard of it done that way.
Yeah.
And I'm on all the green egg forums on Facebook, and I'm if I'm sitting around, I don't have very much to do, which isn't often, but if I have some chance to just look at stuff, I'm typically looking at green egg stuff now. Car stuff, green egg stuff.
I've never cooked on a green egg, but I've had people cook for me on a green egg.
Delicious.
Incredible.
You got to get the little one. I think for you, if you're
in.
traveling, to go to a campground, the little one I got is fantastic. You can't cook anything gigantic, but if it's just for you, 2 or you and 3, 4, 5 friends, the little Mini Max is great because you can carry it with you and take it on a camping trip or put it on a stand at home and cook from there.
That's awesome.
There's a shout out to a place in Wilmette. It's called the Backyard Barbecue Store. It's where I go to.
Yes.
They're super, super nice. They got tons of rubs and different bits of seasoning. And if you ever need anything backyard/barbecue related, that's the place to go.
So my community garden is up in Wilmette. My dad lives in Wilmette, and so I'm there often. And I know Backyard Grill. Amazing.
Yeah, go check them out. They have the little. They're called Mini Maxes. Get yourself a Mini Max.
Awesome.
So before we let you go, because I don't want to take your time, and I think again, you and I could probably sit here and talk for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and I would not run out of things. Somebody said, "A Traeger pellet grill rocks." From Tim. Oh, we have a question for you before I ask my last question. Maggie said, "So will there be a time we do everything in our minds in our homes?"
I'm big into smart homes. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's we're in the process of trying to make my home smarter. Everything in our minds, in our homes. So, Maggie, I would imagine that what you're asking is, will people not have to leave their house anymore? And actually, one of the companies that I'm involved with and on the board of is called Life Simple, and we're reimagining the shopping mall to try to get people together. I don't think that there'll be, you'll be able to do almost anything you wanted because you won't need to leave the house to get food or to shop. You're not going to have to leave the house to do most things, but people still need that human interaction. And what I would imagine is that technology is going to continue to find ways to draw the right people together even more in a more productive capacity. I don't think, and frankly, we look at countries like China, a lot of the young people in China aren't leaving the house, and there's an addiction to video gaming. And I do think that there is, from an actual psychological standpoint, there is some merit into making sure people aren't addicted to technology, don't become xenophobic, aren't scared to leave their house. But I don't know that the populace will ever have a desire to go that route. I don't think that the technology won't be there. I think pretty soon you will never have to leave your house if you don't want to. I would be surprised if that's not an outlier situation.
Yeah, I agree. I bet the re-imaging of malls would be a very interesting topic because they're basically shutting down. I mean, we could probably talk for an hour.
You can buy them for less than a penny on the dollar right now.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've got opportunity zones, and like, you know, when you look at it from a real estate play, you're like,
Yeah, Northbrook Court is on its way out here. Macy's just shut down. I know they're going to start repurposing parts of that area into residential or mixed use. But yeah, Amazon and all the abilities to get all the things you need online now are kind of killing that that business model of having a mall.
So some of the things we're going to be doing in those centers is we'll have a fulfillment center. We're looking to go about 7 miles apart at scale, so you never have to wait for anything. But we're going to be doing urban farming. We're going to have chef-driven farm-to-table. In the food courts, we're going to have a commercial kitchen for the food trucks. We're going to have co-working spaces. I mean, and it's really just all about bringing people together. We've got a crypto component, but yeah, just super cool stuff.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to keep following everything you're doing and watch your growth, your trajectory, and then, you know, get an insight through your eyes of all the technology things that you have your hands in and all the information that obviously you are privy to through the people that you either mentor or the boards you sit on. Any new exciting thing? There's a lot of them, but anything that you want to announce with Chedwell that's coming soon, or is the AI kind of the new launch?
Yeah, the predictive labor loss scheduling compliance automation that we'll be driving really soon is exciting. And then our partnership that's evolving with Social Live to kind of drive employee engagement and things of that nature are really exciting. But another company that I'm involved with out of Australia, and we don't have the full penetration here yet, but I want to mention this because real estate is becoming one of our big drivers. We're about to hit, and I should have checked before the show, we may have broken a million followers on Facebook today, but we're somewhere, I think last I checked, we're at like 970 or 980, and it's kind of, you know, we're all just waiting to break that million mark. But the app is called Work App, and it started off as just a free way for people to find work and jobs in Australia, and it's grown into this marketplace. We take no transactional fee for anything, period. I mean, there's no commissions, there's no anything. But people are listing yachts on there. People are listing houses and property on there a lot. People are selling cars. And we're leveraging a little bit of the machine learning. We'll have a little bit more AI. But I would love to see a market in Chicago. And, of course, I would because I'm a shareholder in the company. But I'd love to see a market adopt the app here in the States because the only thing we're missing is critical mass. And if people start to use this as a real estate app here, imagine being able to find buyers for zero commission.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty revolutionary, and it is ad supported. There are billboards every, I think, 7 listings. There's a relevant ad, and you know, I mean, there's some monetization built into it, but the experience is incredible, and the opportunity. I mean, to think about a platform where realtors can connect with customers without any of the, you know, bureaucratic red tape or any of the you know, fingers in the cookie jar. You know, imagine if you make your full commission.
Yeah. Well, you and I have a lot to chat about off air. I have some ideas in that, and you got my hamster wheel spinning pretty fast there. But congratulations again. I could talk to you for hours upon hours. I cannot wait to learn from you on LinkedIn. I appreciate you coming back. We definitely probably should not wait a year to have this guy back on for our 3rd time, because in a year from now, he's probably going to be in outer space or at the bottom of the ocean, and it'll be very hard to get a hold of him.
Well, I'm going to say this on air so that there's a record. I don't care how big I get. You guys are one of the first shows that I did that meant something to me. I'm a fan of the show, you know, regardless of who's on. I like you both as humans. You guys are up to cool stuff, too. I have some privy information to some of the next stuff that you guys are planning on doing, kind of a next step with this, and that's incredible. So I won't specifically come back from Antarctica or up from the bottom of the ocean just to do the show, but give me at least a week or 2 heads up. This will always be a priority. I would love, and this will be my chair. Right? This is the second time.
Listen, if we get a different lineup here of chairs and stuff, we're going to save that one and make it Corey's chair.
I thought you were going to say where I was going to say, I'm freaking out, man.
Yeah, no. We really appreciate that. That means a lot to myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking for John, that you would say that because you are on a lot of shows. And like I said, your motivation's infectious, and I appreciate you taking the time out of a incredibly busy schedule to come back on here again. And I can't wait to watch everything you're doing again. I mean, I'm almost like a fanboy at this point. I just want to watch and see all the things you do on the tech side. And congratulations on everything in the past year. Like I said, with that, one of my favorite quotes is, we overestimate what we can achieve in a year, underestimate what we can achieve in a decade. But you've, in 1 year, covered more ground than a lot of very successful people do in a decade. So congratulations again.
That means a lot, and thank you.
John, what do we got going for next week?
So a while back, we had a gentleman named Dean Cassell, JuiceRx. And after the show, we were talking, and he made mention of a Dr. David Plerde. He said that he would be really great guest, interesting. And so I followed up, reached out, and via LinkedIn, matter of fact. And we had a great call, and he's going to be on next week. And he's another person like Corey, where the first time we had Corey on, we had another guest, and it was a great show. And the other guest was fantastic. But this time I wanted to have Corey, just singular. Same thing for next week. It's just one guest because he's going to fill the time with awesome knowledge. And so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Corey, so much for giving us your time and just what you're doing. And Mo's already said it. You're amazing as far as your drive and your infectious personality and what you're doing. And to take time and come and sit and talk and just be as forthright and open with everybody and everything you're doing, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again. And I'm excited. I remember Dean talking to us about the doctor, and I'm excited to chat with him as well. Kudos to you and LinkedIn. John is a LinkedIn machine, man. Good for you, buddy.
Love it.
Well, thank you guys for listening. This was episode 60. As I said at the top of the show, the love that we get, the comments we get, the shares we get, the fact that you guys follow us, ask our guest questions means a lot to myself, means a lot to John. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Thanks again.
In 3, 2, 1.